Hey guys, this is part 6 of the Java platformer tutorial, and in the last video what did we do? We created the player class and finished up all the attacks. Well, at least 2 of the attacks. Hopefully there will be more. And so yeah, in this video we're going to start with the enemies. But before I forget, the background, it's not scrolling here. If I move, the background is still in place. So it's really just simple right up here. Set background, I guess. This is in level 1 state.update. So I set the background here, bg.setMap or set position. And this is just tilemap.getX and tilemap.getY. Should be scrolling now. A little bit. Okay. And one more thing before we get started. I was working with the tween here, and I figured out what was causing all the twitchiness. Here, if I set the tween to 0.7, that means the camera should be gradually following the player around like this, so it's not rigidly following the player. It kind of smoothens the movement out, but the problem is that you can see the player is like twitching back and forth. It can't decide which pixel to go on, and the problem was that over here in tilemap.java, over here where I have get x and get y, I returned an int. I casted the x and y to an int, and I shouldn't really do that. Since the map object is using it, I should keep it a double, get rid of the cast, and make sure you return doubles instead. And that way, you have more accuracy with the map position, and there's no more twitching. So cool. So you can set the tween to whatever you want. Here, 0.07 means the map or the camera is going to move 7% towards where the player is every update. So I think that's a good value. It still kind of twitches a little bit. If the camera is trying to catch up, you can see the player just twitching back and forth. Well, so for right now, I'm just gonna keep that at a tween of 1, just so I don't have any problems with the player's position going all twitchy. I'll try to fix that, or find out how to fix that some other time, but for now, let's go ahead and start creating some enemies. So over in Entity, we're going to create a new class. This is going to be the enemy base class. All the enemies will extend off of this, and of course, enemy extends map object, just like everything else. So the constructor, all enemies need the tile map, so just super TM. Actually, we could make this abstract, I guess. And again, this would make no sense with the constructor, but I'm just going to keep it there anyway. So import the tile map, because we need that. What else? Every enemy is going to have a couple of things. They need health, they need a boolean, whether or not they're dead or still alive, and how much damage they do on contact. This is contact damage when the player runs into an enemy. They also need some flinching stuff. I realize that a lot of these variables there are a lot of these variables in common with the player class, like health and flinching. So I might have to reorganize this later in order to make it more presentable, I guess. Anyway, this is the player class, enemy class. We need a boolean to check if they're dead, and some way to get the damage. So get damage. Okay, let me just move this down. And we also need a hit. That means the enemy gets hit with this much damage. So if dead or flinching, then we can't get hit. So just return. Otherwise, we're going to subtract the health by the damage done. And if health is less than 0, then health is 0. And if health is 0, then the enemy's dead. Otherwise, we're just going to keep flinching here and set the timer. And that's pretty much it. Wait, what's wrong here? System.nanotime. Flinch timer? Oh, I made it a boolean. It's supposed to be a long. My bad. Anyway, so that's the enemy class. This is just so we can put all the enemies into one sort of container here. Private array list of enemies. So array list, we need to import that. What's this? Okay, so import java.util.arraylist like that. So that's pretty much it for the enemy. I don't even know why I made it abstract. It has no abstract functions. I can probably just get rid of this. Anyway, so that's enemy. Let's go ahead and create our first enemy. I'm not exactly sure why I called this enemy, can't see it. I called this enemy Slugger. It's not even a slug, it's a snail. So, yeah, incorrect enemy name, but whatever. It's called Slugger, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to create a new package here, and this is going to be entity.enemies. So this is going to hold all of our enemy classes. So the first one is going to be Slugger. So cool. This one, of course, extends enemy. And the constructor is simple. TM, super TM. Just pass along the constructors. Alright, so what do we have? We have move speed. This is a snail, so it's going to be slow. Max speed, also slow. Ooh, what's this? Cannot be resolved. Enemy? Oh, I have to import, right. It can't see enemy. Import entity dot pretty much everything, I guess. Also tile map. Tile map. So that's that. This is slow. Max speed is 0.3. Fall speed, I don't know if this thing's ever going to be falling off cliffs or whatever. This is just a basic enemy that moves back and forth between walls. So, just going to have these here just in case. The width and height is 20 by 20. That's for the tile sheet. The real width and height is 15 by 15. And it has 2 health. Let's just set both of those. Move this down. And it does 1 damage. Okay, now we can actually try to load all these sprite sheet here. It only has 3 frames in here. So first we're going to need an array of buffered images to hold the sprites. So you just need to import that java.buffered image. What's this? Java.image. Right, I forgot. .image.buffered image. So that's that. So now we can load the sprites here. Try catch e.print stack trace. Okay, so first thing we want to do is read in the entire sprite sheet. Sprite sheet is image.io.read, and this is going to be get class get resource as stream, and this is it. Oops. What is this? Sprites slash enemies slash slugger slash sprites slash enemies slash slugger.gif. Okay. Oh, something stuck in my throat. Okay. So that's the sprite sheet. We can actually... that's weird. I have the width and heights and stuff set over there. That's really strange. These are false. These are actually 30 and 20. I don't know why I used the other values. This is a 30 by 30 squares for each sprite. So 30, 30, 20, 20. So that's that. So now we can actually read in the sprites, the individual frames. There's 3 frames in here. I'm going to use a loop to read them in. Sprites.length, I++, and sprite size equal to sprite sheet get subimage. And this is I times width, first row, width and height. There we go. And so that's pretty much that. Now we have to set the animation, new animation, and animation.set frames to those sprites. The delay, I made it 300 since it's slow, and set it starting right, I guess. That's not really necessary, but I'm gonna wait. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna set right to true here, so that when the snail or slugger starts up, it's going to be heading in the right direction. There. Okay, so again, I might need to restructure some of this stuff, but this slugger class here is going to have its own get next position function, which is the helper for the update function here. Just like with the player, it does update position here. This is get next position first, and then check tile map collision, and then set position x temp and y temp. This is exactly like the player class, these first few ones here. And for draw, of course, we need set map position. Actually, if you notice in tile map or map object, I have this function here called not on screen. This tells us whether or not the object is actually in the screen or not, and we can check that up here. If not on screen, then we return. We don't have to draw it since it's not on the screen. It's not necessary. If I had like 1,000 enemies on the map and I can only see 3 of them, there's no point in drawing all 1,000 of them. So that's that. What else? Set map position. And again, I really over here, I should just do it. So here, facing right, this is exactly the same thing. I'm going to copy this and move it over into map object .java public void draw graphics 2D G, and I'm going to paste this, the facing right and facing left draw image stuff. I'm going to put it in here, map object, in its own draw function. So java.graphics. That way I don't have to keep doing it over here. I can just replace it in player.java with just draw, or super.draw g. Hopefully that works. Let me just check. Okay, so I can see the player. That works. The same thing with the fireball, actually. over here with fireball. I don't have to do all this stuff in the fireball.draw. I can just do super.draw. Also, before I forget, one more thing. I remembered really quickly that the all the fireballs were actually facing left. So I didn't set the facing right variable anywhere, which I should have. Over here, if I give it right, I'm just going to do facing right is equal to right. Up in the constructor here, that way it can face both directions. So that's just a small thing. So that's that. Map object, moved the drawing stuff in here. And so player and stuff like Slugger can use it. So here, this is just, again, super.drawg. Everything is centralized on map object. So to make things easier to read, or readability. So updates. We have get next position. So again, this slug is just going to be moving back and forth horizontally between walls. Or it's going to keep moving one direction, and once it hits the wall, it's going to move the other direction, basically. So stuff like this is pretty much the same as in player. Again, I could probably move some of this stuff or create a default get next position function with this stuff in it. But for now, I'm just going to keep this stuff in here. I can actually just copy and paste from player. Here, movement, all this movement stuff. Just copy and paste that over in here. Actually, I don't need this part if left, if right. I don't need this else here because it's always going to be left or right. So that's that. What else? It could be falling. Actually, it can never be jumping, so I don't need the jumping stuff. If falling, then dy plus equals fall speed. You never know, this thing might run off a cliff or something, so have this in here. If dy is greater than 0, jumping is false. If dy is less than 0, actually, we're never going to be jumping like that, so it's this, if falling, that's it. Okay, so we have that. What else do we need? We need to do stuff in update here. First of all, check flinching stuff. Check to make sure we've stopped flinching. If flinching, then we have to find out how much time has gone by since we started flinching. Like this, divided by 1,000,000. Oop, can't really see that. Move it down here to get it in milliseconds, and if elapse is greater than 400, I guess flinch time of 0.4 seconds. Flinching is false. Now we can actually set the actual movement stuff here. If it hits a wall, then go other direction. So if right and dx is equal to 0, again, anytime something hits a wall, their dx automatically gets set to 0. Seen over here in mapObject.java, when we check tilemap collisions, here, hit a wall, set 0. Hit a wall, set 0. So that here, if right and dx is equal to 0, that means we've hit a wall, and then right is false and left is true. Same thing for the other direction. If left and dx is equal to 0, then what else? Right is true, left is false. Oops, let me move this down. So that's pretty much it. This is just gonna flip the direction it's going every time it hits a wall. Hopefully there's no errors. Ooh, I don't have graphics up here. Graphics 2DG. My bad. So let's just import that. Import java.auth.graphics2d. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Let's see. Okay, I'm not getting any exceptions. That's good. Let's actually try to create an enemy here. If I go over to level 1 state, I have the array list of enemies. So this is just a test Oh, I should put this in init. Enemies is equal to new array list of enemies. And let's go ahead and try to create a couple of these. Let's see. Over here we can create a new Slugger S, which it can't see, so we have to import some stuff. Import entity.enemies.everything. Import all the enemies. So we have a Slugger here. And we're just gonna create a new Slugger, tile map, and set the position. The player position is at 100, 100, so let's just set this thing into the same 100, 100, and add it into the list. So that's just one enemy. Of course, now we have to update all the enemies. So we have to loop through the list. I is less than enemies dot size, I plus plus, and enemies dot get I dot update. And of course we have to draw the enemies. Okay. So for I equals 0, I is less than enemies dot size, I plus plus, enemies dot get I dot draw, G. Okay. So let's see if that works. Oh, we have errors. Where's errors? Enemies.update. I don't have enemies.update. Right, okay. So let me just go back to enemy over here. We're going to need public void update. Okay. So there's a snail. I don't know why it started all the way up there. That was weird. Oh, I set it to 0. Y equals 0. That's why I was up there. So, position 100, 100. Okay. So there's a snail. It's moving along. It's not updating its animation for some reason. I probably forgot to do that. And once it hits the wall, it should... Yes! Okay, so that's that. And also, it didn't change direction. So I forgot a couple of stuff here. If right, then we're going left, so facing right is false. Facing right is true. And since we're starting right, we might as well. Facing right is true. This is all in Slugger, so right is true, facing right is true, and then once we change direction, we also have to change facing right. And last thing, update animation. Animation.update. Here we go. There it is. It's going so slow. I just want to check to make sure that it turns around. Come on. There we go. So I can't do anything with it. Can't attack it or whatever. Since we didn't do any of that stuff. That will be for another video though. So one more thing that I wanted to do that I held off on was the HUD. I want to have some kind of way to show how much health you have and how much fire you have. So we're actually going to do that now. Go over to, let me close this, entity, and we are going to create a new class called HUD. Here. And in this one, this is just going to be all of the stuff that you see on screen, the information. So obviously this is going to need the player, since pretty much all the player stuff is going to be on the screen here. So public HUD, we need to pass in the player and set that. And also, I have the HUD stuff here. Yeah, in the resources. So you can use those. So let's go ahead and import the stuff private buffered image. This is going to be the HUD sort of sprite sheet. It's not a sprite sheet, but it's just the image. What else? Font. We can use a font. Why not? We have to import some stuff here. Import java.auth.everything, auth.image.bufferedImage, and javax.image.io.image.io. By the way, in Slugger, I don't know why it didn't cause an error when I did image.io.read. I guess it imported automatically. That's weird. Anyway, so that's that. So now we can actually try to read in the stuff again, like everything. Try catch, exception E, print the stack trace in case something goes wrong. Image is image.io.read, and this is a get class that get resource as stream, resource as stream, and oops, this is in /HUD/HUD.gif. And font, you could use whatever font you want, I guess. Arial, font.plain, 14. So that's that. Now we only need one extra function here, and this is draw, to draw the HUD to the screen. Graphics2D-G. This is simple, just java.drawImage. We're going to draw the image that we used at position 0. We can move it down a little bit, 20, maybe. We'll see. And g.setFont, and g.drawString. I'm going to draw this stuff in the little window that you see up here. Oh, wait. I can't see it, so I'll go back over to level 1 state. We're going to create a HUD, private HUD here, and in init we're going to do HUD is equal to new HUD, and we need to pass it in the player. It has no update, so I don't need that. Draw, this should be the last thing we draw since it goes on top of everything else. Draw HUD, so this is just HUD.drawG. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, so there it is. I'm not sure if that's too low. Maybe 10 instead of 20. That looks better. So now I'm gonna draw the health up here and the fire energy down here. So g.drawString. This is player.getHealth plus that plus player.getMaxHealth, and this is going to be at 30-25. I lined it up manually, so this is 30 across and 25 down. Draw string, player.getFire divided by 100, and oops, player.getMaxFire divided by 100, and this is 30-45. Oops, I can't see this. Let me just move this down then. Okay, so that's the first one, and the second one, that's for the health. This is for the fire. Hopefully you can see this. Yeah, it's just at the edge. Okay. So, they're colored red for some reason. That's weird. Shouldn't be colored red. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna set the color. I used white last time, so might as well set it over here. There we go. So now we have that. And you can see the fire energy going down, and you can't spit out any more fire if you don't have enough. It costs 2 fire energy to spit one out. Anyway, so that's pretty much that. So I'll end the video here, and in the next one I'll do some enemy attacks where we can actually attack the enemies and get hit by them. So yeah, thanks for watching.